Land-grant colleges transform American education. The land-grant colleges transformed engineering education in America and established the U.S. as a world leader in technical education. Before the Civil War, American colleges mostly taught classical studies and liberal arts as they were training grounds for the wealthy. Doesn't mean that classical studies and liberal arts aren't important to other people, but that's the way it was. The entrance requirements often required proficiency in the Latin and ancient Greek languages, effectively excluding the working class. The military academy, that is West Point, was the college that trained American engineers, mostly in fortress construction. The West Point instructors were the authors of most antebellum, that is before the Civil War, engineering texts. The Morrill Act changed that. While the congressional debates about the act were mostly about agriculture, the act's language included language referring to the mechanic arts, meaning applied science and
War of Attrition.
The act specifically forbade spending land-grant endowments on building construction, which Congress believed was expensive and unnecessary. As such, those funds were spent on the tools for engineering education, such as textbooks, laboratories, and other scientific equipment.
There was more of them. They could put more pressure on because they had more men and material.
Let's move on.
Some women as well.
Move on. All right. So the result was that the number of engineers skyrocketed. In 1866, there were about 300 American men who had degrees in engineering, and only 6 reputable colleges granting them. But by 1870, there were 21 colleges offering engineering degrees, and the total number of engineers graduated had tripled to 866. By 1880, the U.S. had added another 2,249 engineers, and by 1911, the U.S. was graduating 3,000 engineers per year, with a total of 38,000 in the workforce. Meanwhile, Germany, well known for its science and engineering, was graduating only 1,800 engineers per year. We can see some marvelous bridges from Niagara Falls, New York, not too far from where I grew up.
Congress issued 3 legal tender acts,
an engineer, like the engineer driving the
paper money,
train.
also known as greenbacks. While other
engineers
currency was backed by gold or silver, you could
and of course, here's some German engineering, a Mercedes-Benz automobile. So it's not like the Germans are
you could
any
take
slouches in
those
engineering,
and you could
but the U.S. definitely managed to pump out the quantity, while the Germans had the
silver
quality, of course.
Gold or silver.
The U.S. said, hey, we can have quality and quantity
by the belief that the notes had value.
So
you can take a look at video 24 at 11 minutes and 6 seconds.
This thing doesn't like to move. Here we go. Now let's talk about the Pacific Railroad Act. So this law, again from 1862, and supplemental laws, issued government bonds and granted to rail companies the right to create transcontinental railroads. The federal government gave 130 million acres to these companies. States added 50 million extra acres to that total. So a total of 180 million acres of state and federal land went to railroads to develop the West. So here's a plaque about the Texas and Pacific Railway and the Union Central, and here's the only direct route from Omaha to San Francisco.
You can say we're literally given a license to print money.
So here's a little bit more on the Pacific Railroad Act.
And some more
the
about
original 1862 Act's long title was an act to aid the construction of a railroad and telegraph line from the Missouri River to the Pacific Ocean, and to secure the government use of same for postal, military, and other purposes. And yes, I should have said the same instead of same. Anyway, we can see why these long titles are pretty long and unwieldy, and usually they give a bit of a snappier, shorter title like the Pacific Railroad Act.
Bonds, and that's the first
so
time the
this
US
was
did it,
signed into law by President Abraham Lincoln on July 1st, 1862. The 1862 Act created extensive land grants, huge tracts of land in the western United States. And the government issued 30-year bonds at 6% interest to Union Pacific Railroad and Central Pacific Railroad, which later became the Southern Pacific Railroad companies, in order to construct a continuous transcontinental railroad between the eastern side of the Missouri River at Council Bluffs, Iowa, opposite from Omaha, Nebraska, and the navigable waters of the Sacramento River in Sacramento, California.
All right, let's move on.
Section 2 of the Act granted each company contiguous, together, rights of way for their rail lines, as well as all public lands within 100 feet or 30 meters on each side of the track.
High taxes.
Section 3 granted an additional 10 square miles, 26 square kilometers of public land for every mile of grade, except where railroads ran through cities or crossed rivers. Okay, a little technical detail, but that's important to say.
The first income tax was also instituted
we
during
need that to
the
go
Civil War, and that remained
with the railroads.
And
the
socialists and
30-year
demanded a return of the
U.S. government bonds authorized by the Act would be issued and backed by the U.S. government, which would then provide the capital raised to the railroad companies on completion of sections of the railroads in exchange for a lien on that section. So we'll give you the money, but we're going to get a lien. So it's like a mortgage on a house or the loan on your car. It's like, okay, we'll lend you the money and we'll let you build it, but until you pay us back, we actually own that thing. You don't own it. Just like you buy a car on credit, you don't really own the car. You only own the equity that you actually paid. Same thing with a mortgage on your house. You only own what you actually paid the mortgage company.
In July
the mortgage company owns the rest of it and can get a lien against
it
and can even foreclose and different things.
New York
But
City draft
I digress. Anyway,
people were upset over the fact that
the liens covered by the railroads and all their
$300.
fixtures and the loans,
1863
those
so
became
that was a
due
lot
and they
of money.
were repaid in full and with interest by the companies.
That was like
and as and when they became due. So
69.
basically, they made good on it. They made lots of money. So even at 6% interest, it was enough that people would definitely pay money to go on these railroads rather than trying to take ships all around the country. Really kind of practically around the globe. It's like, okay, to go around the Horn, South America, etc., to get from, say, New York City to San Francisco. Whereas, like, oh, you mean I can get on a railroad that goes right through there? Oh, yeah, okay, that's a good investment. So it's a pretty good way for them to make money and pay off these.
So after geeking out on that,
pay off these loans, and
way of
basically
that was a lot
these
of money.
companies mostly exist to this day. So here we go.
Okay, I don't want to be drafted.
More on the Pacific Railroad Acts. So, Section 10 of the 1864 Amending Act, 13 statutes at large, 356, additionally authorized the two chartered companies to issue their own first mortgage bonds in total amounts up to, but not exceeding that of the bonds issued by the United States, and such that the company issued securities would have priority over the government bonds. So they could get their own bonds and but not over what the government issued them, and then these company-issued securities would have priority over the government bonds. But remember, you're thinking, well, wait a minute, is that going to mess up the government bonds? No, the government still had a lien on it until they were paid off. The lien on the physical railroad, so they were being taken care of.
$7,000,
but they're saying, okay, we'll let you borrow money and you can use that to, if someone else will borrow, we'll refinance it basically. We can use this money to pay off the
authority.
Basically, they can borrow more money. That's basically what it is. Okay, so the Amending Act of March 3rd, 1865 ratified and confirmed the assignment made by the Central Pacific Railroad to the Western Pacific Railroad to construct the westernmost leg of the Pacific Railroad from Sacramento to San Jose, and authorized the Western Pacific as one of the charter companies. So, okay, so built some more railroad from Sacramento to San Jose. Do you know the way to San Jose? And it authorized the Western Pacific as one of the charter companies.
So, it's
and from 1850 to 1871, the railroads received more than 175 million acres of public land, 1/10 of which the whole United States and larger in area
and
than
it
Texas.
works about the same way if you go anywhere. When I've
the railroad expansion provided new paths of migration into the American interior. The railroads sold portions of their land to arriving settlers at a great profit. Okay, so that's why people were willing to take up these bonds, because they knew they were going to get money. And that's why the federal government was like, yeah, that's okay, you can take up these bonds because we know there's going to be plenty of money to go around. All right, pretty good deal for everybody.
The old rock song Riot was.
So that was 175 million acres of public land, 1/10 of the whole United States, and larger in area than the whole state of Texas.
I'm not a big fan of rioting.
So the railroad expansion provided new paths of migration into the American interior.
If you don't agree with
the
me,
railroads sold
ahead.
portions of their land to arriving settlers, as I just said before. The
draft riots in other areas
closest to the tracks grew the highest prices, as we saw before. Remember at the beginning when there was the ad saying, well, okay, if you want to be right within the
about a 3-4 hour drive
the Morrill Land Grant Act lands, you had to pay $2.50 per acre, whereas if you were outside it, you only had to pay half. You paid $1.25, $1.25. So that's because farmers and ranchers wanted to locate near railroad stations, because obviously that would make it a lot easier to take their livestock or their grain or whatever produce and just put it right onto railroad cars, whereas otherwise you might have to have something, a horse and buggy or something like
new
that.
Irish immigrants found
take it over to where the trail,
wait a minute, we just got here and we have to fight because
so that makes perfect sense.
Pretty hefty sum of money,
and so this was definitely an exciting time for the West.
Yeah, that's totally fair. Not at all fair.
And more on the Pacific Railroad Act. In the Act of 1863, this set the gauge, basically the space between railroad rails. So you can see green, that's one kind of gauge, purple were another, then the red were another. So these are Australian triple gauge rail.
And no one was killed.
Narrow gauge, meter gauge, standard gauge. Okay. So basically, the gauge was set at 4 feet and 8 1/2 inches. Gauge previously used when the 1863 Act was passed, and this gauge was used by George Stephenson for England's Liverpool and Manchester Railroad, 1830. That became popular. Popular with railroads in the northeastern United States, and it was widely but not universally adopted in the U.S. today. So today it's just called standard gauge because most basically most railroads use it. So we can see standard gauge is over here, and then there's broad gauge, so that's if it's a little wider. Anyway, it's a common gauge, standard gauge. That's an easy choice because then you can just basically use all cars and engines and stuff that all have the same width. Otherwise, if you change the width of the track, then you have to use cars and an engine, etc., that are different widths. So obviously that's hard. The more you standardize mechanical things like this, especially where you have to interchange a lot of parts, it's easier just to make everything the same width, etc.
officials and probably state officials could just go and arrest anyone
we
they
see
call
the
a
right to
rebel or
anyway.
a traitor
It also
without
allowed
arrest
transfer
warrant.
cars between different railroad
Lincoln's
companies
action
and
was in response
facilitates
to
trackage
riots
rights.
of illegal
And you can see the
militia
right.
action in
Okay, took out
Maryland,
the
which is a
T.
Union
Oops,
state
sorry about that. To
bordering
run
on what was
trains
the Confederate
over
state of
certain
Virginia.
tracks with or
After the
without
war
the
was
right
over,
to
the
move
Supreme Court in
passengers or
Ex parte
freight
Milligan,
or freight.
1866,
Okay, I'm not talking so great. I'm
ruled
sorry about that.
the
Anyway,
suspension of habeas
basically,
corpus did not allow the
if you
feds
have a standard gauge,
to
makes it
try
easier to do
alleged
everything,
traitors in
especially if you
military
have to
courts when
transfer
civilian courts were
trains,
available.
cars,
That is,
etc.,
civilian courts were
from one
closed by
railroad to
war,
another
insurrection,
railroad.
natural
And,
disaster, etc.
at the very
So
least,
it was
everybody can
not,
do it. You can think
according
of
to the
it
Supreme
like
Court, something that they could
freeways,
use as
highways,
an
roads,
end run
etc. It's nice if cars are all
around the
roughly the
normal
same
civilian
width,
courts by saying,
so that way
you're a
everybody
traitor,
can be in
so
the
we
same
have to try
side,
you in military
roughly the
court.
same size.
I'm sure you would probably much more likely
lanes
be
on a
guilty of
freeway.
being
So same
a
thing.
rebel or
And
a
it's
traitor
even more
in a
important where you have a
military
railroad
court
because the
than
things
in a
actually have to
civilian
be on
court.
rails.
But that's just
So you can also think of previous
move on.
history. I remember from my European history classes years
Civil
ago
liberties during
in
the
high
Civil
school,
War.
Some
people criticize
rulers
Lincoln
and
as authoritarian for
European
suspending
and
the writ of
Asian and
habeas
whatever
corpus,
countries,
which again is
basically
Latin
they
for you have
ordered
the
that all
body
the
and
carts
forces
and
authority
wagons, etc., used
to
by
show
peasants
why a
in the
person
military,
should
anybody else who
remain
might be
in
using
custody.
wagons,
However,
that
throughout
the
history, many accused
wheels
of
all had to
treason,
be the
including
same
people who
width
just opposed
or
the
the
war,
same gauge, if you
were
will.
killed
So
or
that
executed
way,
with no trial
invading
at all.
armies that used
So,
different ages wouldn't be able to
as
use
people have pointed
the
out, arrest and
well-worn
imprisonment
road ruts
are awful,
in
but they're generally better
dirt
than just
roads.
being
You know, the
executed
idea
with
is
no
you have
trial.
dirt roads,
So
all the
there
cars
is
are the
that.
same length.
I
They're going
would
to
still
basically
call
put roads in the
suspending
same, put ruts in the
habeas
same
corpus
place, especially since
pretty
the carts will
authoritarian
just
to me,
naturally
but,
find their way
hey,
into the
you have to
ruts.
take it in the context
So
it
that
was
way, if you're using an enemy's wagons that use
Wartime Civil
different
Liberties revisited
widths,
in
different
World War
gauges,
I. The Supreme
it's not going to
Court
work as well.
would
And let's look at the
revisit
Thurman
regarding
Act, an
World War
act
I.
of Congress,
In
May
Schenck
7th,
versus United
1878,
States,
to
249
Statutes
US
57, which
1919,
was an
after the
amendment
war,
to solve
a
disputes
unanimous
over the
court
railroad
ruled that
subsidies,
defendants who
revenues, and
distributed
loan repayments
flyers
consequential
encouraging
to
draft
the
age
original act.
people,
So it's basically house cleaning,
to
financial
refuse
stuff,
to
etc.
report for duty could be
Important, but
convicted
not
of the
terribly
crime
interesting
of
at this point.
attempted draft obstruction
The
under
Homestead
Espionage
Act.
The idea
So
was that
the
First
federal
Amendment didn't
government encouraged
shield
Western
defendants from
development through this law,
prosecution, even though normally it
1862.
would be
We talked about
covered
that,
as
which
free
granted
speech.
free land to
And the
anyone
Supreme
willing
Court
to develop
noted
it.
that
This
even
supported the
though
idea of free
in many
labor,
places in
and
ordinary
again,
times, the defendants,
since the
saying all that
Democrats
was
were
said in the
generally from the
circular would have
South,
been
they were like
within
modern
the constitutional
Republicans, and the
rights,
Republicans
but
are more
the
like today's
character
Democrats.
of every act
Basically,
depends on
the
circumstances
Republicans,
in
since
which
they
it
were
was
from the
done.
North,
And you
they
can
were the only
see
ones
the
who got to vote
Wikipedia
during
article
the
for
Civil
Schenck versus
War,
United
so
States.
they had no
And that's
opposition
the
when the South
case
seceded,
that
so that's how these things got
cites the
passed.
example of
And you can see things
not
here,
legal
even
to yell
after
fire in a
the
crowded
Civil
theater
War, you have
because
things
that's
like,
more
"Ho for Kansas."
more like
They mean go to
ringing an
Kansas, get
alarm
your mind
bell
out of the
rather
gutter.
than
But
actually
anyway,
making an
this
argument
was
for something
actually
that's
aimed
something.
at African
To me,
Americans
that
who
seems
had,
an
of course, had
apposite.
been
It doesn't
slaves,
really
etc.
fit.
And
It's like, well,
they
yeah,
were given a
yelling
way
fire in a
to
crowded movie house,
obtain real
that's
estate
destructive,
in
that's
Kansas.
really not helpful,
So they would be
that's
leaving
kind of like being
Nashville,
an internet
Tennessee
troll, where
to
you
go
know
to
people are gonna
Kansas,
react before they think.
and would have to pay in pursuit of
Most
homes
internet
in the
trolling, I would say,
southwestern
is
lands
also
of
protected
United
speech. But
of America at
these
transportation
are
rates
people
cheaper
who
than
are
ever was
making
known before.
arguments against the
And
draft.
Benjamin Singleton,
And
better known
so
as
the
Old Pat
government was
Bouquet,
perfectly
so you
happy
can
to
see
say,
where you
no,
could go.
no, you don't
Beware
get to do
of
that. There's a war
speculators
on,
and adventurers.
so
That
we're
is
not
a
going to let you do
dangerous
that because
thing to
it's
fall into their
special
heads. So,
times.
don't get ripped
All
off.
right,
Go to Old
let's
Pap.
move on.
Okay, I don't know if I would trust Old Pap here, but
And
anyway,
we'll
hope things
discuss
worked
this
out
case
for
a
these
little
people.
bit more. Justice Holmes
So,
wrote that the words used
the problem
are such
is that most
circumstances
homesteaders, many
and are of
homesteaders,
such a
maybe not most,
nature
but many of them,
as to create,
didn't
quote,
know
a
how to
clear
farm,
and
and they ended
present
up going
danger. You hear that
bankrupt.
used a lot. That was
And,
a Tom
so
Clancy
presumably their
novel
land
that
got
became this
foreclosed on by
movie,
some bank
Clear
or
and
something like
Present
that. So
Danger.
they
It is a
ended
great
up
phrase.
off their land.
Anyway, that they
probably
were
in a city,
some
maybe, I don't know, Omaha, something like that, whatever.
Right,
maybe they went back east, maybe they went to
for
California,
that reason,
I don't
the
know.
defendants could be
But anyway, they ended up off their land. And so even those who actually knew how to farm pretty effectively still had a problem because larger farm operations could outcompete them in some ways. You know,
the Supreme Court created some wiggle room here.
The more agricultural products you can grow, the lower per unit you can probably charge. So if you can basically compete on price, you might put the small farms out of business and force them to have to sell to your collective. Doesn't always work that way because, let's face it,
the city of Chicago,
somebody who's working their family farm is going to care a lot more and going to be willing to work a lot harder than somebody who's just a hired hand on some agribusiness where it's like, okay, you know, American conglomerated and blah, 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 agribusiness. The guy who's earning a wage is not going to feel the same as, this has been my land since the Homestead Act when my great-great-grandfather Silas and his wife, founded this, and I will do anything I have to do to make this survive. So I'm sure you get the point.
And so then that would later be replaced with the idea of the only kind of speech you could censor would be something that would cause imminent lawless action. So then that would be in cases such as Brandenburg versus Ohio, which I believe is from 1969. And that was a case talking about, you know, somebody saying that somebody should have bad things happen to them. But they said, well, that's just rhetorical threats. You can say bad things about somebody or about a group of people. And unless you're saying, we're going to go to this person's house and we should really break down his door and take him somewhere and maybe something bad happens to him, something like that is, you know, under Brandenburg would still be something that's saying, okay, you're encouraging imminent lawless action. You know, let's go and lynch this person. Yeah, that's going to be illegal. Saying this person deserves to be lynched, maybe not. But I digress, as I did in this whole thing. So you can go look at Schenck versus United States. You can look at clear and present danger. Those are good things to know about. Let's move on.
Did you find this video useful? Please like it and subscribe to my channel. Neither action costs you anything. You'll be alerted about my new videos. Why? It's really simple. YouTube doesn't let me share any ad revenue unless I have 1,000 subscribers and 4,000 hours, that's 240,000 minutes, of view time in a year. While many people are watching these videos, I don't have 4,000 hours of watch time in the last year. I do, however, have 1,000 subscribers, actually more than 1,000 subscribers at this time. So thank you so much to everyone who actually helped me out by subscribing. Ad money will help me make more of these videos. And speaking of ad money, if you've seen an ad during this video or my other videos, please know that I did not get any of the ad money, and I won't until I have the subscribers and view time that YouTube demands. For the same reasons, you are not only welcome but encouraged to share links to this video, put it in playlists, etc. I gladly read and respond to constructive criticism or suggestions for new videos that are also constructive. I reserve the right to delete comments such as troll posts or spam for obvious reasons. Nobody likes trollers and spam. You can hire me for tutoring. We can do it online through Zoom or some other similar internet platform, or we can meet in person. I live in the San Francisco Bay Area, so if you're around there, it's pretty easy for me to come see you. I do travel to other cities sometimes, so you can always contact me and ask me if I'm going to be in your city, and that's another way that I might be able to meet with you in person. Thanks for watching, and my contact information follows. You can contact me on Facebook, facebook.com/Linnaball Tutoring, all one word. Instagram, it's instagram.com/John.Linnaball.tutoring. And the phone number, this is my cell phone, 415-623-4251. You can always call me or leave a text message. Email, you can always email me at john@johnlinnaball.com. Website, you can reach me at johnlinnaball.com or johnlinnaballtutoring.com. They take you to the same website. And you can also find me at testpreparation.locals.com and at lbry.tv at John Lineval Tutoring. That's a nifty little site, lbry.tv. My actual postal mail address is John Lineval Tutoring at 1859 Powell Street, number 109, San Francisco, California, 94133. And finally, please note, this video is not a substitute for your classes, etc., or the text or anything else. This video is based on Barron's AP U.S. History Review Book, the 4th edition. Some of them it's the 5th edition. Anyway, or any other sources used in the video description and my general knowledge of U.S. history. While these videos should all help you do well on the AP U.S. history exam, I can't be responsible for what your teacher thinks is important and asks you about on his or her own tests, homework, etc. Please, please, please read your class texts, and please pay attention to what your teacher says in class, because that will help you do well on the tests and homework, etc., that are not the actual AP US History exam. All right, have a nice day.